Simpson. And Japan have gone absent without leave. This is Whitmore. Paul and Gale both available. It's still Whitmore. It is the Reggae Boys who take the lead.
Ball chat. Greetings, football lovers. Welcome to Ball Chat Podcast, the show where we review some of the week's major news in the world of football. I am Benton, going solo on today's show. We have a jam-packed show as usual. Big up to all the listeners. A wonderful day in the ATL family. The place nice. Out of door look nice and, don't know. Big up to Camon and Junior out the road. Of course, Junior is away. He's on vacation. Enjoy yourself, family out the road. And big up to Camon. Camon, of course, refereeing football games. So we'll get Camon starts later on, maybe, during the summertime or somewhere around there when competition ball game finish for you. All right, so we have a jam-packed show, as we said, family. I actually put up the call-in number if anyone desired to call in, just forward and join in. I mean, if you decide to call in, just make sure to mute your audio, and we'll go ahead and get your thoughts on this week's football, this week's major news in the world of football. All right, big show on the deck. We have Ballers and Bugs highlighting the impressive players of the week and unimpressive players at the top end of the show. We're going to discuss EPL action, big game, Manchester United versus Liverpool. Big game in EPL title race. Big point for Manchester United. We take a look at maybe an opportunity, definitely points drop for Liverpool. We'll take a look at that result and actually the impact on the title race. And other EPL news, you don't know, Arsenal continues to run hot. Arsenal doing well. So we'll discuss EPL news in detail. We'll take a look at Bundesliga results. I mean, big things coming out of Bundesliga. Bayer Leverkusen is one win away from the Bundesliga title. First title in club history. So big up to Xabi Alonso and the entire crew, as Bayer Leverkusen looking to end the 11-year winning streak of Bayern Munich. We'll get ready for Champions League football coming down, set up Champions League quarterfinal games, take a look at those matches coming up this week, first leg action, and wrap up with Yard Ballers. All right, Ballers and Bugs family, we're going to kick it off. Again, big up to all the listeners. Thank you as always for joining the show. We always appreciate listeners joining in, so big up yourself. Thank you as always. Ballers for me, family. I'm going to kick it off with celebrating two brothers who won a title together. I mean, big up to Inaki Williams and his brother. I mean, baller of the week to the entire Atleti family, as Atleti Bilbao won the Copa del Rey in Spain. I mean, 40 years drought. That was a long time to win a title, but since they've won a trophy. But ultimately, you have to give a salute to these two brothers. I mean, the reason why I salute these two brothers, I mean, they're from Ghanaian ancestry, Ghanaian roots. Inaki Williams, very good player, of course, outstanding player in my eyes. And the man always shine and rock his culture, rock for Ghana, and also an impact player. And to do it with his brother, Nico Williams, they have to give a ball of the week to them youth, man. Ball of the week. And Inaki Williams did share some very touching memories. Two brothers going through the struggle, coming through the Athletic Bilbao youth system together and winning a title together. Have to big up these two players and have to give them ball of the week. Outstanding achievement, and to the entire family, the Williams family, for a wonderful achievement. Ball of the week to the to Athletic Bilbao and their victory in the Copa del Rey final, defeated Mallorca, ended their 40 year drought in winning a title. So ball of the week to the Williams family. All right, continuing the ballers and bugs. Want to give a ball of the week to Heideheim. Heideheim or Heideheim. I don't know exactly the German pronunciation of this particular football club. But they defeated Bayern Munich, came from 2-0 down against Bayern Munich to defeat Bayern Munich 3-2. Is it what? Heideheim. Your guess is as good as mine, family. But the fact that they defeated Bayern Munich, first promoted club to defeat Bayern Munich since 2000. So that's an impressive achievement. So ball of the week to these to Heideheim players. Alright, Heideheim players for their victory over Bayern Munich. And the questions continue for Bayern Munich and Thomas Tuchel. I mean, we'll discuss some comments made by Bayern Munich football director later on, as they of course Thomas Tuchel is sacked, and they're preparing for who comes after him. But I don't know. Harry Kane scored his 32nd goal for Bayern Munich, and it still don't matter. The defending, we'll get to Bayern Munich later on regarding the bug segment. But Route 1 football for Heideheim to win this football game. Over the top, getting behind Dayot Upamecano and getting behind Kim Jae in the back line for Bayern Munich. So impressive victory for the Bundesliga newly promoted team over a big star-studded, big money team. Bayern Munich. So ball of the week, the Williams brother Inaki and Nico Williams, contributing heavily to Atletico Bilbao ending the 40-year drought with a trophy. I always admire Inaki and Nico Williams, the collective effort of those two players and how they rally and support their team. So big up. And ball of the week to Heideheim. Big up to the Manchester United people I'm running in. And the final ball of the week. I have to put the video up. I have to just put that clip up. A final for the audio listeners. Ball of the week to Kobe Mainoo. Absolutely stunning football display by the kid. Stunning goal. I know the Liverpool fans are going to say we hear put up Mainoo's goal. But this kid is a baller. Kobe Mainoo is an absolute baller. The goal he scored was outstanding, but most importantly, the intelligence picking up that pocket of space, receiving the ball from Wan-Bissaka, and then turning, dropping his shoulder, and curling that one into the top right corner. So, ball of the week to Kobe Mainoo. Big up to Jeremy and Levy. If you have any more ballers, send them on. We have to salute this youth. This youth upside is outstanding. And, imagine if he had somebody like a general, aka a real midfielder, to teach him at Manchester United. Like how Iniesta and Xavi and those players sat and wait behind man like Deco and them man while they were at Barcelona. So, Kobe Mainoo gets a ball of the week for my family. Big up to the family. Outstanding display. Alright, Bugs. Unimpressive players of the week. Why? We have to continue with Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich gets a bug of the week, family. Bug of the week. If you look at the Bundesliga table, Bayern Munich is currently 16 points behind Bayer Leverkusen. Bayern Munich is lost at sea. And I know we have a lame duck manager in Thomas Tuchel, but Bayern Munich should not be losing football games to newly promoted Heideheim and subsequently falling behind 16 points in the Bundesliga table. Bayern Munich gets a bug of the week, man. Come on. Fix up. And I know there's probably some suggestions out there that they should just go ahead and just sack Thomas Tuchel, relieve him of his duties right now. Don't wait till the end of the season, as the brass at Bayern Munich has determined. And if them lose the next game like this again, maybe management at Bayern Munich will deal with that. Jeremy and Levy said Dalot gets a bug of the week. We'll get to Manchester United versus Liverpool here in a few minutes. I definitely want to get the thoughts of the Manchester United and the Liverpool fans. Ballers and Bugs segment continuing our roundup. If you have ballers and bugs, send them on. But you know the biggest bug for me, family, the biggest bug of the week. And Jeremy and Chelsea get a bug because of the drop points against Sheffield United. Oh, Dalot giving away the. May I try to figure out if is who Jermaine speaking of regarding the penalty? Because I thought Wan-Bissaka gave away the penalty in the Man United game, but maybe I'm missing something there. Ballers and Bugs segment. Continuing our Ballers and Bugs family, we want to highlight something in our Jamaican football recently that just really got me cross, angry, miserable. I mean, the Women's Premier League. A game took place recently between Arnett Garden and Cavaliers in the Women's Premier League. And the thing about it is that, yes, the Women's Premier League is not top shelf. It's growing. The hope it will grow into something at the end of the day. But you know why I gave the bug of the week to two players. The Arnett Garden, the Cavaliers goalkeeper, her name is Blake, and the Arnett Garden striker, her name is Redwood. Yo, what a piece of fighting went on between these two players. A long ball, Cavaliers won the game 2-0. Big up to Military Guna TV for the wonderful coverage. Big up yourself. Check out the game on his coverage at Military Guna TV on YouTube. But the big thing that stood out to me, family, is that Argentina. Cavaliers led the game 2-0. Long ball over the top. And here comes the Arnett Gardens attacker trying to gain an advantage, trying to crash in and get some advantage regarding try to get her team back into the football game. And the Cavaliers goalkeeper pick up the ball, them rub shoulder, the Arnett striker kind of struck the Cavaliers shoulder, goalkeeper shoulder, and one right hook, one fist into the face of the Arnett Garden player. And that led to more punch up in her belly, more kick up in her feet. It was crazy. So bugs of the week to those two players. The Arnett Garden, the Cavaliers goalkeeper, her name is Blake, and the Arnett Garden striker. I mean, I guess the Arnett Garden striker probably shouldn't get bug of the week. I should probably say, what could I do? And also the most despicable part about the whole thing is that the Cavaliers fans, once the red cards were issued, the Cavalier fans were chanting, keeper, keeper, keeper. My keeper, that you could hear some of the noise in the background, and those fans get the bug of the week. Man, they can't support them foolishness there. Keeper, kick up, box up, the opponent, and chant, keeper, my keeper bad like yours, or something to that effect. So bug of the week to the Cavaliers goalkeeper. Her name is Blake in the Jamaican Women's Premier League, and bug to Redwood Arnett Garden striker. It's not good for the league, and also not good for the, especially in its infancy. All right. Now to a football roundup, and let's get to the big game. Manchester United versus Liverpool. The game ended 2-2. Big up to Jason Frame, by the way. Jason Frame says, ballers of the week, Ortega, bravest Cruyff I've ever seen in my life, keeper or not. Yes, Ortega with a sweet move against Mateta of Crystal Palace. Boy, if it never work, you see. If it never work, you see, why it's sick then. And Ice Cold Palmer, say what you will, he's keeping Chelsea. Yeah, the blue side afloat. I mean, Cole Palmer plays some ball. I mean, I'm not into the overhyped machine, and Cole Palmer doesn't have anything to do about that in itself. I think he's doing what he needs to do for his football team, and he's scoring goals, and kudos and credit to him. So, ball of the week. Jason Frame is giving him a ball of the week. Jason Frame says, bugs Manchester United for snatching defeat from the hands of Man United for snatching defeat from the hands of Victor. Then Chelsea for drawing with who after beating Sweet Pepper side. And of course, Manchester United against Chelsea in the middle of the week. Manchester United led and somehow found a way to lose that football game against Chelsea. Ballers and Bugs segment. Send them on, family. But let's get to this Liverpool versus Manchester United game. 2-2 the game ended at Old Trafford, family. It was a monumental game in the title race. I look at this game as 2 points dropped by Liverpool. And first, we'll deal with Liverpool. Liverpool had 15 shots on goal in the first half. 15-0 in the first half. So the Slobosly should probably have a hat-trick in this football game. Nunes, and Mohamed Salah should have had not just a penalty goal, but another goal in this football game. Liverpool should have put away this game by a country mile in the first half, and they have only themselves to blame. There was a report that Jim Ratcliffe and Big Sam Allardyce attended the game together. They were sitting in the stands talking. I don't know if it means that Big Sam will take over Manchester United. All right, well, fun and joke aside, as bad as Manchester United were in the first half, the second half was outstanding. From an effort standpoint, I mean, the ability to really kind of rally the troops. And it shows that Ten Hag does have something in his locker to rally these players. Now, we can ask the question, why was it so delayed? Why did we have to wait till halftime or the second half for this stuff to kick on? And maybe that's a question for whether is Ten Hag the right man for this job. But overall, I thought it showed some level of fight. They don't show it often from Manchester United, but it shows some level of fight to be able to recover and take a point from this football game, and actually was in a position to win this football game, not say for that penalty in the 84th minute that Wan-Bissaka gave up. And when they spoke to Eric Ten Hag at the conclusion of the game, he said, to paraphrase, he said mixed emotions. He says, on one hand, and Epistolary said, what fight? Liverpool keep shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah, all right. To clarify the fight, Liverpool should have won this game in the first half. They should have been away by a country mile. You can't miss that many chances. And as my big up to the brethren already, the family that watch the game with, we said we know how football are. We have seen so many football games are. We have seen so many times where teams leave these chances on the field and they come back to bite them in the butt later on, so to speak. And so the first half was total Liverpool, but Liverpool failed to really kind of separate themselves. And so at 1-0, then 2-0, at 1-0, then ultimately Manchester United still had a chance in this football game. And Ten Hag went in and put on a fight, rally his players to come out and fight. And that is something that we saw in the second half. And El Pistolero from Sekwanza keep going backward, I would see the mistake coming. Yeah, man, but, mistake on Kwanzaa part, definitely. Young kid, big mistake. But you don't know, them things that happen. You don't know. We're not going to beat him for that. I will say, big up to Bruno Fernandes, who normally haven't done a lot or enough for me to really kind of Let me see. I choose my words carefully still. You know, Bruno Fernandes haven't done enough for really say him a real star baller in this Manchester United shirt. Straight up. I don't go around bush and talk. And so to that end, but big up to him. Quick notice and quick reaction from him, and in the sense that he picked up that loose ball and saw Keller out of his goal and was able to nicely put that one away. So I don't know if Ten Hag is the man for the job. I see too many inconsistencies regarding Manchester United, because at the end of the day, again, you played Liverpool twice in recent memory. You've won the FA Cup game, and now today you take a point. But both of those games, you conceded an enormous amount of opportunities. And if Liverpool was more surgical or more clinical in front of goal, you probably would have gotten butter bruised. So, aka a bigger score. So Liverpool, I don't know if Ten Hag is the man for the job for this team. So some players need to be replaced. Ten Hag said mixed emotion. To paraphrase the statement, he said mixed emotions from this game. From the game, their position, to look at the totality of the week. They played 2 games where they led. They were in advantageous positions, and they came away with a single point. So Eric Ten Hag said, well, very, very mixed up in terms of his emotions regarding the week. Of course, the game against Chelsea was a telltale sign of what transpired this week also. El Pistolero says, on a local level, we keep taking 3v2, 4 versus 3 for granted in our training session. And Liverpool keep proving to us that it's important to train these situations. Yeah, man. And Liverpool miss Jota so much. In fact, yes, may all forget about him. Liverpool definitely miss Jota, because with his clinical ability in front of goal, Jota is very clinical in front of goal. And it offsets some of the deficiency, or relieves some of the issues with the other players. Like you take out a man like Nunes and tell him to go rub bench. Or you give Luis Diaz a break and you say, all right, you put in somebody else like a Jota who's surgical in front of goal. In terms of Klopp's assessment of the football game, I mean, similar sort of narrative in terms of mixed emotions from the Liverpool manager. I mean, he felt like, his team did enough in the first half to put this thing away, like most of Liverpool fans. It's just that they couldn't do it. I mean, and he did say regarding the title race, he said of course, he's going to back his team, he's going to back his players, because they did bring them to this position of 71 points. And, he wants Liverpool fan base, Liverpool fans to remain calm as they go down the stretch. So, again, Liverpool, I guess Klopp just said, well, we just keep shooting, keep at it, and make sure those goals go in. But I don't know if it's just Manchester United, Obia is so strong that this does not work against the goal scoring boots them just disappear against Manchester United in these last few games. I will say though, for Liverpool in this football game, the idea though of Endo in the CDM position. I mean, I saw Kobe Menu pile Endo, and I thought, Regin, Endo has been doing an excellent job in the position, but I thought today wasn't his best day in that holding midfield position. And you can't make Pitney, aka a child, pile you. Yeah, you're supposed to be the man in that position to shut down anything that come across. And so he was rightfully sub. You can see that Szoboszlai is probably working his way back. Curtis Jones came on, and it's good to see him back on the park. But Liverpool, well, in a hot up Klopp head, and I can see Liverpool fans being a little bit nervous down the stretch, knowing that Jota is away and the inefficiencies in front of goal right now. And I have to go easy on Mohamed Salah, because I think he's fasting for Ramadan. So the man play football for hungry belly. All right, position stats for the game. Manchester United 37% and Liverpool 61%. And again, the shots column, Liverpool totally dominant in the shots column over Manchester United. But somehow drop points again. So they will have to figure this out, and they need to figure it out real fast because games are coming thick and fast. All right, so now how does this result affect the title race? And rightfully so, the title race for the audio listeners, we have an image. I have an image up of Arsenal, Liverpool, top 3 teams right now in the EPL. Arsenal sitting on top with goal difference 71 points. They have 51 goal difference. Liverpool in second on 71 points. And Man City in third on 70 points. We'll take a look at these 3 teams' schedule in a second, but Arsenal are going well. And we'll talk about Arsenal in more details in a minute, but Arsenal is the only victor, and maybe Man City, yes, Man City definitely, probably Arsenal and Man City would have hoped for a Manchester United victory. And, but you don't know, you can't put on your pot on a certain side. But nonetheless, 2 points drop for Liverpool at Manchester United. 2 big points drop. So, all right, let's continue our EPL roundup and take a look at other EPL results. Because, again, Arsenal had an impressive weekend. I mean, 3 goals again. If you look at Arsenal's goal scoring numbers, it's ridiculous. The man has scored some serious amount of goals. Anybody who run into them right there now might get fixed up outside of the big teams, the top 6 or the top 4 teams. If they play like any mid-table teams or bottom of the half-table teams, Arsenal are looking to score, and they're looking to score in bunches. So big up to Mikel Arteta and Arsenal. They defeated Brighton 3-0. But the most notable thing, and probably one of the most impressive thing for Arsenal, is how defensively they have been this season. They conceded a total of 24 goals through 31 games. So the investment in Declan Rice, Junior has always been a huge fan of Declan Rice, and he's, it seems like that investment is well worth it. Saliba is playing excellent, and of course, Hattie head Gabriel seems to have calmed down, and we saw the job that he did against Erling Haaland was it last weekend, how he was very physical with Erling Haaland, and so that, I think, helped Arsenal in that objective. You see what I say? So, looking at the schedule of these 3 teams, the top 3 teams in the EPL, Arsenal's running looks something like this. Arsenal, April 14, will play Aston Villa. Then they play Wolves on April 20th. They have Chelsea on the 23rd. They have Spurs in a huge game on the 28th. May 4th, they play Bournemouth. They play Manchester United on May 11th. And they wrap up against Everton. This Arsenal schedule is not easy. It's I would probably say Arsenal have the most difficult schedule out of all 3 teams. Very difficult schedule. The game against Manchester United and the game against Spurs. Now, granted, Spurs do play this high line, and they might get butter bruised. But with derby games, you can never really tell. So those might be tricky games for Arsenal. I mean, coming down the stretch. Liverpool schedule. Liverpool, April 14, they play Crystal Palace, and I think Liverpool fans will hope that they can put a 6-piece meal on Crystal Palace. I mean, Liverpool fans would hope to see the goal-scoring boots back. I think a couple of years ago, they defeated Crystal Palace, something like 5 or 6 or something like that in the EPL. So, Liverpool Nation will be hoping for that sort of domination against Crystal Palace on the 14th. On the 21st, they will play Fulham. Then they play a Merseyside derby against Everton. against a feisty Sean Dyche Everton, who finally won a football game. But again, another derby game. Those is another tricky football game. The 27th, Liverpool will play West Ham May 5th. They also play Spurs. And May 11th, they play Liverpool, play Aston Villa, and they wrap up against Wolves. Well, the Liverpool schedule don't look, it doesn't look easy at all. Spurs will have something to say about this EPL title, you know. Spurs will play all three of these teams. And Spurs is actually in a running for Champions League spots. So Tottenham, Buckside, definitely will have an influence. Big up to all the Tottenham listeners, Tottenham Spurs fans. Big up in yourself. Man City schedule running in the EPL. Man City will play Spurs, a game, that date and time to be decided. But on Saturday, this Saturday, Man City will play Luton. On the 25th, they'll play Brighton. The 28th, Man City plays Forest. May 4th, Man City play Wolves. May 11th, Man City plays Fulham. And they wrap up against West Ham. Why? Man City seems to have the easier schedule. And I think this is why the bookmakers know, heading into the weekend, heading into the Manchester United versus Liverpool game, Liverpool were the favorites at 50%, I think, by some of the bookmakers. After today's result, Man City is now the favorite to win the EPL title at 40%. I think Arsenal is somewhere at 31% or somewhere there, and Liverpool did drop. So I think because of the schedule, Man City definitely seems to have the most easier schedule. There is Champions League games and Europa League games that may have a significant impact on the lay of the land in this running. So big games coming down. All right, other EPL news. Stepping away from the top three for a second, other EPL results this weekend. Of course, just to recap the results for the audio listeners only: Liverpool, Man United 2-2, Sheffield United 2-2 with Chelsea. Yo, Chelsea's a bug side. I think we know this, and they gave up a stoppage time goal. It's soft goal against Sheffield United. I think Sheffield United is probably already relegated. Mauricio Pochettino said something to the effect that, what did he say? He said, we cannot give up such goals late in games. Obviously you cannot give up goals such late in the games. I mean, we have to figure out a way or something to that effect. I mean, I don't understand how you had such an outstanding effort against Manchester United to take the 3 points in that game. And here you now come leading this game against Sheffield United in stoppage time to see out this football game, and you find a way to drop the soap. So Chelsea's a bug side. It's inconsistencies all over the place, and it's sometimes something akin to Mauricio Pochettino's tenure at Spurs. I.e., Spurs under Mauricio Pochettino would play some wicked football one week against the top level teams. They will go toe-to-toe with Man City. They go toe-to-toe to the bigger teams. But then they will turn around and lose to like a bug team like Wolves. And then you're like, brother, or some other worse team like Burnley or some other team. So this is par for the course for our drop points, so to speak. This is par for the course for Mauricio Pochettino. Spurs defeated Not Forest 3-1. Nuno was hot at the conclusion of the game. He felt like James Maddison should have gotten a red card because he felt like James Maddison pushed or punched Yates or did something to Yates. And he was pretty cross and angry at VAR. Man City defeated Crystal Palace 4-2. Crystal Palace took the lead 1-0, and they couldn't hold it. We don't know, say, Crystal Palace doesn't have the talent or the depth to hold it against Man City. But everybody know the playbook against Man City. You park and you have some runners who are efficient in front of goals, you will have a chance against Man City. They're playing a very high line, which is of course the flavor of the year, the flavor of the moment in the world of football. And they're pushing everyone, pushing a lot of their the center backs deep into opponent's territory. One turnover, you can go at them and you can have somebody who can score and run at this Man City's backline, because they're not good when running towards the goal. Like, most defenders struggle with that aspect of it. I think Virgil van Dijk is very good at it in terms of showing the attacker where they want them to go. Man City centre backs are not as good at such a thing. So Crystal Palace took this lead, but then fold up like a cheap 10. So they lost that game 4-2. And Kevin De Bruyne scored his 100th goal for Man City in 300 and some appearance. This youth turned from soft soap baller to a real baller. And there's a commentary on the Kevin De Bruyne's goal. I think it's out of Argentina, where the Spanish commentator, the Argentinian commentator, just started singing the song Kevin De Bruyne after he scored the goal. So check that out. I thought that was hilarious. Aston Villa 3-3 with Brentford. Aston Villa is another team that wants some, I wouldn't say it, but Aston Villa need their head examined. Maybe coach Unai Emery needs his head examined again. So we have seen this how many times this season. They've led and dropped points. We saw them recently do it. We saw them do it against Manchester United in the fall, in December thereabout, or was it the winter thereabout. And again, they were leading Brentford 2-0 at home in a Champions League race. And Aston Villa actually had to score a goal late in the football game to get a point out this game. Goal scored from one Mr. Ali Watkins. I know Aston Villa is missing Tyrone Mings, and he's been a huge pillar in that defense. I know they're missing the young CDM in Kamara, but no way that Pau Torres, Diego Carlos, and Konsa, and John McGinn and company cannot hold a 2-0 lead against Brentford, who, again, Ivan Toney was on the bench. And Mboma missed, I think, a couple chances, and Wissa was a bit probably wayward with some of the passes. But Aston Villa looking quite vulnerable down the stretch here, family. Looking a bit vulnerable, like they won't get this Champions League spot. Everton defeated Burnley 1-0, Newcastle 1-0 over Fulham, Luton with a much-needed victory over Bournemouth. West Ham defeated Wolves 2-1. And again, Wolves manager Gary O'Neill was ticked off about VAR again. He felt like that goal that was disallowed late should have been given, even though a player stand up in an offside position. Wolves ownership did wrote a letter, release some sort of statement about how angry they are. I don't know if that going to lead to any sort of solutions from their standpoint, but they were upset. They were very upset. And of course, Arsenal defeated Brighton 3-0. Mr. De Zerbi, the big coach, who run off his mouth about his plans of late and how he need to speak to the leadership at Brighton, maybe need to focus on his job at the moment, because Brighton, and I know they played Arsenal. I know Arsenal is playing some serious football, but Brighton has kind of gone off the boil of late, and them need to figure it out. Maybe De Zerbi is a little bit distracted with this idea of him moving on. Word is there are some reports that he's on the short list for Bayern Munich and also maybe even Liverpool. So, I mean, but I don't know about this brother. I mean, he's probably a tactician, but I don't know. I want managers who focus on the job and are distracted about Hattie side, aka Bayern Munich and other coach teams. All right, Arsenal at the top of the Premier League as Arsenal fans. Yo, it's not looking good. Looking good. If Arsenal drop the soap from here, they're not supposed to win another Premier League title for another 100 years. You've done, stick to what you've been doing, Arsenal fans and Arsenal Football Club. Don't bother with the hype and you win this title. The goal difference has been outstanding for you guys. Defensively, you have been stout. You've conceded 24 goals. That's impressive numbers. Don't drop the soap. Because if Arsenal fans them drop the soap and Arsenal drop the soap and lose this title, what a piece of laughing I'm going to start around here. So Arsenal on top. Liverpool, of course, in second. Manchester United round out the top three. Aston Villa now drops to 5th position after Spurs victory. Spurs have that slight goal difference advantage. So there's hope there for Aston Villa after all. Chelsea move up to the 9th position. They actually move into the top half of the table, even though they're the top 10. And Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield United round out the bottom three. Yo, Burnley and Sheffield United, yeah, them probably gone. Them relegated. We probably can stick a pin in them. Luton Town does have a battle with Forest for that last relegation spot. So Luton probably can pull Forest down into that location. All right, some other news, family, before we other major news in this week's football roundup. Over to the Bundesliga, and Bayer Leverkusen is on the verge of winning their first Bundesliga title. First title in their history, to be exact. First Bundesliga title in their history. It's only a matter of time. I mean, the work that Xabi Alonso has done with this Bayer Leverkusen team is nothing short of outstanding. They play Werder Bremen next week at home, and with Bayern Munich's loss or defeat yesterday against Heidenheim, a victory against Werder Bremen, we'll see Xabi Alonso and Bayer Leverkusen crown Bundesliga title. So, outstanding performance. I mean, unbeaten in 41 games. Absolutely impressive. And just to remind listeners, I mean, 76 points at top of the Bundesliga, a plus 50 goal difference. So they're not just parking bus and defending. They're scoring goals. They're doing this without Victor Boniface. So big up yourself. It's inevitable. Congrats to Bayer Leverkusen. Outstanding season. They have Europa League to play this week. But, next weekend, I am almost certain that they're going to beat Werder Bremen and secure their first Bundesliga title in the history of that football club. All right, Champions League coming up this week, family. Champions League football games on deck and Europa League. And these games may have a significant impact on the EPL title race. Champions League, of course, just remind listeners of the quarterfinal games coming up on Tuesday. Arsenal versus Bayern Munich and Real Madrid versus Man City Tuesday. And on Wednesday, Atletico Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund and Paris versus Football Club Barcelona. Boy, Barcelona desperately need this Champions League money. We desperately need this Champions League money, family, if you kind of secure things. You know what? Bayern Munich brass were asked about the coach. I think it was Herbel, director of football. I think his name is Herbel. He was asked about the coach who was going to take over from Thomas Tuchel, or should they sack Thomas Tuchel? This was after yesterday's defeat. And he pretty much just said, I don't really care about no S coach right now. Our central focus is on Arsenal. And I know Arsenal fans are over the moon. They're ecstatic about their season. And I've seen some comments from some Arsenal fans claiming that they're gonna just rubber stamp or implying that they're gonna butter bruise Bayern Munich. Just be careful. Just be careful against Bayern Munich. Thomas Tuchel, Bayern Munich, they're back against the wall. Champions League. Arsenal is favored to win this game. This game is at Arsenal Stadium, at the Emirates Stadium. So you do expect Arsenal to win this game and take the advantage into the second leg. But just be careful, Arsenal. Just be careful. Don't get carried away with the hype. Don't get carried away with the hype. Real Madrid versus Man City. So Arsenal versus Bayern Munich Tuesday at 3 p.m. Real Madrid versus Man City Tuesday also at 3 p.m. Big money football game this. Big money football game. I mean, this is when they call about champion football. I mean, Real Madrid with their star-studded team versus, of course, Man City, big side, the defending champion. And we expect another gem of a matchup between these two football teams. I mean, as a neutral, you just sit back and just enjoy this football game. I mean, of course, man called Jude Bellingham, Tchouaméni, Real Madrid stock. Rodrigo has been playing well of late and scoring. And of course, Man City also with a very star-studded heavy team. I noticed Pep Guardiola rested man called Phil Foden, their hat-trick scorer from the midweek in this weekend's EPL game. And he also rested Bernardo Silva. So he's looking ahead for this Champions League game against Real Madrid. And this game is at the Bernabeu. And boy, the bookmakers are the winning percentage or winning probability. The one them have Man City a slight favorite to Rastafari. All right, so that's Tuesday's Champions League games. On Wednesday, Paris versus Football Club Barcelona at 3 p.m. and Atletico Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. Now, Luis Enrique, this is the Luis Enrique Classico, or Luis Enrique big match. Of course, Luis Enrique once coached Barcelona to Champions League title. Of course, now he's a coach at PSG. Xavi Hernandez and Barcelona, they've invested heavily in this Barcelona team. João Felix and João Cancelo, Rafinha, you name it, Robert Lewandowski, you name it. This is their time, their moment. This is why you went out and made those huge investments to make it pass and make it deep into the Champions League. Again, it's well documented Barcelona's financial issues. So we can't hide those issues. The further they go in this Champions League, that is more money to address the issues at Football Club Barcelona. So they must win this football game or must win this tie to continue the so-called, I wouldn't say it's resurgence, or try to fix the roof at Barcelona. I mean, because money is important here. As for PSG, again, with PSG, the entire drama around PSG is Kylian Mbappe and how long or how many minutes will he play. We have seen Luis Enrique taking Kylian Mbappe at halftime or 50 minutes in. Of course, the word is, of course, that Kylian Mbappe will be heading to Real Madrid by many sources. It's not official. And so Luis Enrique is planning for life after Kylian Mbappe, if those reports are true. Now, I just think that, he's your big baller. He does give you something extra. Why do you even need to sub him in some of these games? Let him play. He's on the books. You're trying to win football games and still utilize his effort, because Kylian Mbappe is Kylian Mbappe. We don't know. We don't have to say nothing about them on the pedigree. I mean, them on the star, baller, general. I mean, and of course, other game on Tuesday, Atletico Madrid versus Dortmund, also at 3 p.m. I just saw this game and I say, you know what, it would be nice if Atletico Madrid and Cholo finally win a Champions League. They have been at it, I think they went to how many finals? 3 finals? And they've had their heart broken a few times. I mean, of course, one of them was a Sergio Ramos goal at the death when they played Real Madrid in that final. So Cholo, Simeone, and Atletico Madrid would do well with winning a Champions League title, and of course they have to get past Dortmund, which I mean I expect them to. I really expect them to. I really expect them to pass Dortmund in this space. So I have Arsenal beating Bayern Munich at home, Real Madrid passing City at Real Madrid, Barcelona succumbing to PSG at Paris, Barcelona losing this football game against PSG, and Atletico Madrid finding a way defending stoutly and beating Dortmund. I don't think Dortmund have the appetite for kind of street fight Real Madrid for in this first leg or any such matches. But I mean, I could be wrong. All right. Other major news. We'll take some look at Jamaican football news now. And before we even touch Jamaican football news, Europa League games are coming up this week, and we're not really paying attention to Europa League until it gets into the semi-final phase of things. Europa League games, Liverpool, again, the big thing for these midweek games, the Champions League, Europa League is A, of course you want to progress, and B, how does it have an impact on the EPL title race for Bayern Munich versus Arsenal game? That's going to be a closely watched game on Tuesday night. How much effort will it take out of Arsenal to play that football game and then retool again and go back to continue their EPL running? Same thing for Liverpool on Thursday when they play Atalanta in the Europa League. How much effort will that Europa League game take out of them as they retool and get ready? And the same thing apply for Man City and Real Madrid. So the midweek games will have an impact on the EPL title race and so forth. All right, discussing some news in our backyard and just focusing on Jamaican football news. The CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers schedule was released for the Reggae Boys. Of course, CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers for the Reggae Boys kicks off in June 6 to be exact. The Reggae Boys will take on Dominican Republic, and on June 9th they will play Dominica, and June 7th they will play British Virgin Islands, and they wrap up their second round CONCACAF World Cup qualifier games against Guatemala on June 10th. Reggae Boys must win this group. I mean, no long talking. I mean, this is supposed to be some, no say ball around. I'm not gonna say it's easy because sometimes we make things more difficult than they are. But the Reggae Boys should pass this group with some ease. I do expect them to pass this group. Just to remind listeners, the top 2 teams in each group will move on to the third and final round in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. Of course, Jamaica will be in Group E, and so of course, USA, Mexico, and Canada automatically have booked their place to 2026 World Cup. The top 2 teams from the 6 second round groups will advance to the third round, and they will be divided in 3 groups of 4, with each group winner automatically advancing to the 2026 World Cup. Reggae Boys in Group A, Antigua, Bermuda, Antigua, Barbuda in Group A. Bermuda, Cayman Islands, Cuba, Honduras. Honduras is going to win Group A. It's a toss-up for who is going to be second. In Group B, Bahamas, Costa Rica, Grenada, St. Kitts, Trinidad and Tobago. Costa Rica. Do expect Costa Rica to win Group B. Trinidad, I do notice Costa Rica is getting younger, utilizing the youth. And so I expect Costa Rica to win Group B. Trinidad and Tobago should get that second spot. Soca Warriors doing a thing. Angus Eve has been doing a good job with the Soca Warriors. The Sugar Boys of St. Kitts. Sugar Boys of St. Kitts. Atiba Harris, big up himself, president of St. Kitts Football Association. They've done a good job in improving. I mean, we saw them at last year's Gold Cup. They're getting better. But I don't expect the Sugar Boys of St. Kitts to really come in and really put up a serious fight in this group. But again, it's World Cup qualifiers and ball round. Group C, you have Aruba, Barbados, Curacao, Haiti, and St. Lucia. Haiti should win this group. Curacao second. The thing with Curacao is that I don't. All right, so Curacao hired Dick Advocat for their manager recently, and of course, legendary manager from the Dutch system. So Curacao does have a nice pipeline of players, but you know, something not right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Haiti should win this group. Curacao should finish second. Let's see. I don't expect anything from Aruba, Barbados, and St. Lucia. Them are just make up numbers. Group D, you have Belize, Guyana, Montserrat, Nicaragua, Panama. Panama, of course, will and should win this group. It's a toss-up. Toss-up for the other one. I mean, Nicaragua, you would say, yes, Nicaragua. Can Montserrat put up a fight? Panama, it's a toss-up for the second place in that group. And maybe the hat goes to Nicaragua. Not sure about Montserrat. Sometimes Montserrat does feel a competitive outfit, you know. Group E, of course, the Reggae Boys, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Guatemala, and British Virgin Islands. Now, the thing is that Dominican Republic has done quite well at the youth level. I mean, they've made it at the U20 World Cup for both men and women, if I'm not mistaken. So there's something cooking in Dominican Republic football. Is it ready for prime time? I'm not sure. As in, can they get out of this group? Can they put up a fight with Guatemala and Dominica and the likes for that second place? Again, I do expect the Dentist, Hamir Hallgrimson and company sure to win Group E. And the final group, Anguilla, El Salvador, Puerto Rico, St. Vincent, and Suriname. El Salvador, definitely the favorite. Puerto Rico has been doing well, have been improving, definitely improved a lot. I mean, when you sit down and you watch the Puerto Rican men's national team at the last World Cup, you saw something that they're putting together. They're very compact, very good defensively, have a few tall players at the the attacking end of the field, and that is their strength. They will work you and push you to the limit and try to sneak a goal here and there and then defend stoutly. Suriname, me no know. I don't know. Suriname, again, is another one of those teams which it's like Curacao. I don't know what to expect. Theoretically, you would hope that, you know, some of the players can step up for Suriname, but you do have maybe age. I don't see a lot of next generation of players coming through the Suriname system. I presume that they're recruiting heavily, just like most of these Caribbean teams. But interesting dynamic here. El Salvador to win the group. It's a toss-up for second. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I mean, big up to the verge, Desmond and the entire crew. St. Vincent doing some wonderful work. No, them not ready. Them not ready for prime time. Top two from each group. Top two goes to the final round, and the 12 teams in the final round will be divided into 3 groups of 4, with the winner of those 3 groups automatically going on to the to 2026 World Cup. Just to remind you of Reggae Boys' schedule for the 2026 World Cup. I mean, June 6th, Reggae Boys kick off their World Cup qualifiers against Dominican Republic. June 9th, they will play Dominica. June 7th, British Virgin Islands. And June 10th, Guatemala. Games thick and fast. Very congested schedule here for the Reggae Boys because, of course, they have Copa America games. Copa America tournament starts June 20th. So they get all these games out of the way, which is probably a nice good prep for the for Copa America. Other Jamaican football news: the Jamaican Premier League. I want to highlight Jamaican Premier League for a second. Games should be kicking off our ongoing final. Wait, I think our final round games are ongoing. You know, it's official. Treasure Beach and Lime Hall are relegated from the Jamaican Premier League. Now there's discussions or suggestions from Chris Williams, chairman of the Jamaican Premier League. He's been saying this, he's reiterated and said it multiple times, said they need to have 12 teams in the league and don't go with this 14 teams thing. I don't know about the suggestion regarding the 12 team thing. I mean, yes, Treasure Beach and Lime Hall weren't up to scratch. Imagine Lime Hall conceded 54 goals. Jaja! 54 goals! The Rastafari going around this. Treasure Beach and Lime Hall weren't up to scratch. But you have, and yes, you will have this issue regarding the gap between the top tier, the division, the Premier League, and the second division in the Jamaican football system. But I mean, leave it at, I'm in support of leaving it at 14 teams. And mainly because I hope my Reno FC can get into this thing soon. Of course, Reno FC, that is my football team, Pride of the West, gone to the dog. I think they're sitting in the 6th place of Jamaica at the 2nd tier in the Jamaican League. Top 2 heading into today's matches in the Jamaican Premier League. Mount Pleasant sitting on 56 points. Tivoli and Cavaliers on 51 points. Tivoli with a superior goal difference. Portmore, Arnett, and Waterhouse round out the top 6. The top 2 finishers of the preliminary round will go straight to the semi-final. And then the 3-4 will go to a playing quarter-final game, so to speak, to get the top 2 winners will join the 2 semi-finalists. So I think Cavalier is playing Arnett Garden right now, which is kicking off. I should be, in fact, I can probably check the result, this current score real quickly. Cavalier is playing Arnett Garden right now, and that is a huge game because Cavaliers need to win that football game so they can. No, Cavalier is playing Mullines. Stuff alright. Yo, Cavalier have fixed up Mullines 3-0, and Mobile United is beating Tivoli 2-0. Boy, yo, you can't depend on Tivoli. So if these results hold, let me drop this up for the listeners. The latest score in the Jamaican Premier League as JPL result score. And these games are currently ongoing. Let's see. Let me get the results. So Cavaliers looking to secure that second spot because Cavalier is in a position where they will leapfrog Tivoli into that second position. So, latest Jamaican Premier League scores. Cavalier batter bruising Malines. Boy, Malines not no shame. Of course, Malines' season is done. They're secure for another year in the league. I don't know if no brown envelope change on around here, so, but I mean, at any rate, Cavalier is batter bruising Malines. Cavalier did play on it in a game recently, and there were some room mischances by coach Rudolph Speed. So Cavalier defeated Malines 3-0, currently leading Malines 3-0. Dumbo holding 3-2 over Veer. Mobile United 2-0 over Tivoli. Mount Pleasant leading Limehall 1-0. Portmore 1-0 over Humble Lion. Treasure Beach, Arnett Garden fixing up Treasure Beach 3-1. And these games are deep in the second half outside of the Mobile versus Tivoli game. And the point standing, just remind listeners, the point standing heading into today's game. Mount Pleasant on top with 56 points. Tivoli in the second place slot with 51. Superior goal difference over Cavalier. Cavalier will win that game against Malines and leapfrog Tivoli to secure the second spot. Portmore, Arnett, and Waterhouse rounds out the top 6. Mobile United, Mobile United on 9 points. Dumbo holding, no, Mobile United not on 9 points. Mobile United on 40 points. I was looking at, and Dumbo holding, Veer, Humble Lions, Malines, and Harborview. This is the great mystery of this Jamaican Premier League. Harborview. Harborview is right above the drop zone. They, of course, they're not. I mean, 9 points safe. How did Harborview get this bad? That's the ultimate question. What is going on over at Harborview? Harborview will play Waterhouse. So I thought it says FRO. I don't know what FRO means. But that is something strange. I mean, Clyde Giardini and family at Harborview have some serious work to do to fix up what's going on over there at Harborview. All right, big up to the listeners. Big up to the listeners again. We want to highlight the ball of the week before we go where we are. The youth, Kobe Mano, brilliant goal. This youth is a gem of a player. Liverpool, so you're going to drop some points again today. Figure it out. But ball of the week, the big ball of the week, Kobe Mano. Big up yourself, youth. It's outstanding goal for Manchester United. Youth is what? 18 years old. Big up yourself. I that, that. And of course, remind listeners, Cavaliers will secure the second spot if this result hold in the Jamaican Premier League. Cavaliers batter bruising Malines. Thank you to all listeners for joining us. Junior will be back next week, and the entire family will be together again. I think Kamon will also be back next week. Thank you to all listeners, all the listeners as always. Big up on yourself. We have to salute. Doesn't matter where on the in the world, whether it's Africa, whether it's in the Caribbean, whether it's Europe, Asia. Big up on yourself. Always listening to Ball Chat. Thank you for your support as always. We're on Instagram at Ball Chat Podcast. We're on X at Ball Chat 1. We are on Facebook at Ball Chat. And by the way, you don't know that I forgot one bug of the week, You see the youth name Cucho Hernandez of Columbus Crew, and forget a bug of the week. The man suspended from playing through a team policy for the last 2 weeks. Returned to action yesterday and got a red card for diving and kicking out. Well, him dive and him get a red card. So Cucho, watch that space. Cucho Hernandez might be out on his way out of Columbus Crew plan in the summertime, because him look like he's at odds with the coach, and then him pick up a red card when he returned yesterday. So Forgot to give him a bug of the week. Forgot. Yo, football family, we're going on the road now. Bless up on yourself. Have a wonderful week. Chad safely out the road. Stay safe, family. Enjoy the games. Champions League games coming up this week. Just to remind listeners, the Champions League games for this week on dock. Let me get this Champions League schedule back up again. Arsenal versus hold on. Arsenal versus Bayern Munich on Tuesday. Champions League, Arsenal versus Bayern Munich on Tuesday. Real Madrid versus Man City also on Tuesday. Games kicking off at 3 p.m. You can watch those games on Paramount Plus or CBS. You can find one little hookup channel or something. On Wednesday, PSG versus Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. Cholo Simeone and the entire Atletico Madrid matches. Los Colancheros. Atletico Madrid people them running in against Dortmund on Wednesday. Arsenal fans, don't get too hype. Wonderful weekend for Liverpool in a fix up in a striker position and the goal scoring thing. Yo, later.